Today we're talking about solving multi-step inequalities. We've already talked about solving inequalities using multiplication and division and addition and subtraction. So now we're just putting it all together just all together. So when you're solving two-step inequalities, and have more than one operation, you got to follow your order of operations. So we're going to do some examples. So we have 3x minus 6 is greater than 9. So if you remember, when you go down the list, you have PEMDAS. So when you go down, that's how that works. But then when you're solving for a variable, you go the other way. So we're going to follow the purple arrow in this case. But I'm going to go back to black so I can write. So to undo this 6, this subtracting 6, I'm going to add 6 to both sides. And when I do, I have 3x is greater than 15. And then I need to divide by 3. And since I'm still dividing by a positive number, I don't have to do anything crazy like flipping the sign or anything like that. So x is greater than 5. So that is my solution. Make sure you know how to graph that on a number line if I gave you a number line. So then I have 2x minus 5 is less than or equal to 11. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And then I have 2x less than or equal to 11 plus 5 is 16. So now I have this and I need to solve. So now it's just a one step. So I'm going to divide by 2. And when I do, I get x is less than or equal to 8. So this one's a little bit more complicated. I have 8 minus x less than 13. So this 8 is being added, so I'm going to subtract from both sides. And when I do, I have negative x is less than 5. But now I have a negative x, or a negative 1x if you want to think about it that way. So I need to divide by a negative 1. And when I divide by a negative, I have to flip my sign. So my sign is now going to be greater than instead of less than. And 5 divided by negative 1 is negative 5. So I think the big thing here is y'all are going to have a hard time remembering to flip the sign. So remember, if you divide or multiply by a negative number, you have to flip the sign. So D, I need to undo the plus 3. So I have negative 7x is greater than or equal to 21. Now I'm going to divide by a negative 7. And what do I need to do when I divide by a negative 7? Flip the sign. So I have 21 divided by negative 7 is negative 3. And that is my answer. So that is how you solve two-step inequalities. So now we're going to solve some multi-step inequalities using the distributive property. So we're going to distribute and then combine your like terms and simplify. Yeah, I know that sounds like a lot. You'll be all right, I promise. So we're going to take and multiply 3 times x and get 3x. And then 3 times negative 5 is negative 15. Greater than or equal to 9. All right, so now it just looks like a two-step inequality that we've done before. So we're going to add 15 to both sides. So those 15s go away. I have 3x is greater than or equal to 24. And I need to now divide by 3. So x is greater than or equal to 24 divided by 3 is 8. So that is my solution. So now let's do B. So I'm going to take negative 4 and multiply it by 5 and get negative 20. And then I'm going to take negative 4 and multiply it by negative x. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So I have 4x less than 100. So now I have a negative 20 plus 4x is less than 100. So I'm going to add 20. So I have 4x less than 120, and I need to divide by 4 now. So x is less than 30. So that is my solution. Well, this one's a little bit more complicated. I got a lot going on here. Well, I gotta distribute first. So 7x, and then my pencil's dying. 7 times -1 is -7, minus 2 times -2 times x is -2x, and -2 times 4 is -8, greater than 125. All right, so you remember way back when we added stuff together, just combined like terms and didn't have that greater than 125? That's what we're gonna do. So 7x minus 2x is 5x, and -7 minus 8 is -15, greater than 125. I'm going to add 15 to both sides. So I have 5x is greater than 140, and now I need to divide by 5. And when I divide by 5, x is greater than 28. All right. So now I have 14x, and I need to distribute that -3. -3 times 9 is -27x, and -3 times -10 is a +30, greater than or equal to 4. That 4 looks funny. -27 plus 14, or 14 minus 27, gives me a -13x plus 30, less than or equal to 4. And now I'm going to subtract 30. -13x greater than, less than, let me say the right one, less than or equal to -26. So now I need to divide by -13. And remember, when I divide by a negative, I must do what? Flip my sign. So now it's greater than. See, I just knew it was coming. X is greater than or equal to 2. So when I have both sides, variables on both sides, we're going to get them all on one side and then get our numbers or our constants on the other. So for this one here, I'm going to subtract 3x since 5x is bigger than 3x. So I have -5 greater than 2x minus 2. And then I want to, let's zoom in so we can see a little better. I can write a little easier. So I have -5 is greater than 2x minus 2, so I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I have -3 greater than 2x, and I'm going to divide by 2, so x is greater than -3/2. Yes, it's okay to have a negative answer. That is fine. And you can just leave it straight as a fraction. I'm okay with that. So then B says -x plus 7 is less than or equal to -2x plus 4. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. So I now have x plus 7 less than or equal to 4. Well, I'm going to subtract 7 since I already have my x on the left side. So I have x is less than or equal to 4 minus 7 is -3. So that is my solution. We're almost done. So 2x plus 10 is greater than 7 times x plus 1. So before I go adding or subtracting anything, I need to distribute this 7. So I have 7x and then 7 plus 7, because 7 times 1 is 7. I have 2x plus 10. Now I'm going to subtract the 2x from both sides just because I know 7x is bigger. And I'd like to keep them positive. You could subtract it the other way, it would be fine. So I have 10 is greater than or equal to 5x plus 7. Now I need to subtract 7 from both sides. So I have 5x is greater than or equal to 3. So now I need to divide by 5. So x is greater than or equal to 3/5. Last one of these, and then we got one more problem. So once again, I can't do anything until I distribute, so I gotta distribute this 4. So 8x minus 40 less than negative 2x plus 5. So I'm going to add 2x. So I have 5 less than 10x minus 40. I'm going to add 40. So I get 10x. 10x, let's write that nicely. 45 is less than 10x, and divide by 10. And then that gives you 4.5, or whatever that is as a fraction. I just know what it is as a decimal off the top of my head. All right, last one. So write, solve, and graph the inequality. There's only one, so 3 minus 3 times a number, so 3x minus 18 is at most, so less than or equal to 5 times a number plus 20. All right, so let's solve this. So let's subtract 3x from both sides. So I have negative 18 less than or equal to 2x plus 20. I'm going to subtract 20. So 2x less than or equal to negative 38 and divide by 2. X is less than or equal to negative 19. All right, so negative 19 is somewhere in here, about there, and since it's a closed-in circle, and you're going to shade to the right.